of my taste.
Yeah, no, I know. Like, I feel like you have become like so like well versed in music and like music history and everything. I just feel like every time we hang out, you're like, I've been watching all these interviews for like this band and this band. I'm like, oh damn, like that's amazing. I was like, that's dedication to like learning the art and like being a part of that world. I had a friend that was like the Nat girl, I think, and I was like the Alex girl. Oh no. Yeah,
I
that's
was
what it
the
was.
Nat
Like,
girl though.
I mean, that's why we're friends, like, because we have to choose. And explain how like you got into like the fandom world on Twitter. Like, I know you were doing a little bit of writing like on Wattpad, and so like tell me like about that experience, that time.
Yeah, oh my god, that was like a long time ago. I in let's see, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so in ninth grade, this was still Staten Island, but I did move a lot in between the Naked Brothers band and then, but I moved back to Staten Island. And my brother, he is also, his variety in music is like as far as it goes as well. And I owe my brother big time for that. He exposed me to another world of music. He exposed me to like, like the alternative or the emo scene rather. Like, like Black Veil Brides and all that. That was the band he introduced me to. This was also by accident in the living room. I walked in on him watching like a music video of theirs on TV and I was like, oh my god, they're really good. And if you know
Like
the Black Veil
standing behind
Brides,
him.
they're very different from, the Jonas Brothers, Naked Brothers band, like all of them, very
Yeah.
different. And I loved their artistry. Like at the time, this was like their Wretched and Divine era. They came out with a short film for that album, and I'm a sucker for those. I love visual films for albums, and I watched the whole thing. Like I bought the CD for that. I bought everything. I bought merch. I became obsessed with them. And let's see. And I got interested in writing. So like I wrote like concept stories on Wattpad based off of their music.
Yeah.
And like imagery and like kind of like things that like stories and ideas and visuals that come to mind with the music. And I wrote like a whole novel, and I wrote a whole novel and a part 2 to that novel, so like the sequel. And but I didn't finish the sequel. I don't remember why, to be honest. I think I moved. but probably
To be continued.
Everything. And
yeah,
that was doing pretty well. It got like, from what I remember, over 20,000 reads. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's gone, if it's still there. I can't find it. But
really?
It was a good story. Yeah. It did really well. It's not the fanfic that people think. It was not like some love story. It was because that's what usually is around as far as fanfics go. But I did like this like dystopian type of thing. I love writing stories like that. Like anything inspired by music. I like to make like whole different like realms or worlds that were inspired by that, and with different characters and things. Like the imagination is limitless, and I guess like people liked that, and it did pretty well.
Yeah, because I feel like not everyone's like looking to read a love story where it's like the entire book you're just like waiting for something to happen, and it's very like down one like road. But like that kind of story can go in so many different ways, and I feel like people probably really appreciated that, especially because it was like music too. And it's crazy, like now you see like all of these musicians doing these comic books, right? And I feel like you kind of did something like that first, where you were like writing these more comic book like action maybe stories of these artists, especially Chase too. Like you had these ideas like years ago, and now it's so like mainstream.
Yeah. Oh my god. So with Chase Atlantic, funny backstory, me and Brie met because of Chase Atlantic at their show put that out there. We owe Chase Atlantic big time for that.
Wait,
With,
but Chase Atlantic doesn't know. Well, Chase Atlantic doesn't know this if they're listening, which I doubt it. But let's say one day this is on their AirPods or whatever. You are the reason though I ended up like going to the Chase Atlantic concert, because I was like, what is this band? Like, who are they? I was like, do they have fans? And I like looked it up on YouTube, and which I want to also get into also, like, after the Wattpad stuff, like YouTube, you were basically promoting the bands that you loved. I mean, but through your talent and like your video making and all of that, like you are like watching your video about Chase Atlantic and how much you love them inspired me to kind of also be like that and like go to multiple shows of theirs and go all the way to Philly to see them. So weirdly enough, you inspired me to go to the show that I met you at,
so
which I had no idea
touched.
you would be at. I swear I wasn't like stalking. And then crazy thing, I will just quickly say this, we end up living like 5 minutes down the road from each other, Marine and I. And
Yeah.
so yeah, we just ended up becoming best friends because we were like, there's just no other way. Like this was
Another
meant to
fate
be.
story for the books.
Yeah.
No, that was really freaky. I'll never get over that. Like, my reaction to that was just unreal. But yeah, with I can't believe that to this day. And it's been over 2 years. We're getting close to 3 years, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Chase Atlantic and YouTube, I did like reaction videos and vlogs whenever I saw them. I saw them 8 times, I think, in the course of the time I've been like a dedicated fan. The first time I saw them was not a concert, really. It was meant to be, but it wasn't. It was their album listening party in Asbury Park, and when I think that day changed my life. Like, because I wasn't like an avid Chase Atlantic fan at the time. I went because they were in the area, and I was with my best friend, and we just kind of went to have a good time, and they were so sweet, and we kind of like, we chilled with them, and we got to listen to their album before it came out, and that album is so special. They are, honestly, I consider them masterminds of their craft. They are so good at everything they do, and their music is so artistic. They don't touch upon just personal experiences. They take other pieces of art and turn it into their own, and it's mind-blowing to me. They have this song, it's called Consume, and it's inspired and basically really written about this manga / anime, depending on the avenue you prefer to understand it from. It's called Tokyo Ghoul. I'm sure a lot of people know it. It's very popular. And I didn't know about Tokyo Ghoul at the time, but I was obsessed with the song. I didn't understand what it was about, but then I looked into it, and people told me what it was about, and I watched the show, and I became obsessed with it. Like, I watched all of season 1, 2, and I think I'm almost done with 3, and I bought like merch and everything. Like, I had this whole Tokyo Ghoul phase, and because I loved it so much, I decided to take Chase Atlantic and Tokyo Ghoul and combine them together, and I made a music video film, like 4 different parts, and I did one song from the album, 4 different songs, and I did like a story, like, and it was a comic book type of thing. How do I explain it? Like, a video comic book rather. And the first song was obviously Consume, and I basically took the entire storyline of Tokyo Ghoul. I took Chase Atlantic, themselves, made them the characters, and when I say they loved it, they were so shocked because they weren't as big at the time. So like, I feel like that's one of those things like you see when you're a lot bigger, but I guess, I don't know, I was feeling really creative, and they were so shocked by that. They kept like geeking over it, and every time I saw them, they would bring it up somehow, and I was so moved by it. And Christian from Chase Atlantic, he inspired me to get really into more fields of art, especially film and music video directing. Music video directing was my number one, my first love rather, and something I've always wanted to do. And Christian, he told me to get into it. He was like, you need to, really get into it. We would love to have you do stuff for us one day. And I was like, "Oh my god, okay, I'll do it. Like, if you say so." He's like, "Where's your resume? Let me see it." And I was like, "Oh." So I
You're like,
kind
I
of
don't have
BS
one.
I kind of BS my resume a little bit. I took, like, the experiences I had from college, like film club in my classes, and because I did a lot of film-related stuff. It's not like anything that I faked. It's just nothing music video related was really on there, but I thought it's better than nothing, so I made this resume, like within a week of that time, and I sent it to him.
Uh-huh.
He didn't see it, but that's okay. Maybe he did, but I don't know. But I was like, let me build on it. And the comic book stuff, that was my form of music video at the time because I couldn't get Chase Atlantic in person. So I was like, if I
Yeah.
can't get them in person, I'll do it through drawing. And I
Okay.
got into digital drawing because of that. I didn't do it before that. So that was my love for comic books that happened from there. And anime, of course. And, and then Chase Atlantic, like, they were always so supportive of my art, and they were very vocal about it, and it meant everything to me, especially how much I looked up to them. And that was the beginning of my career. Like, it wasn't the beginning of my love for music at this point, it's the beginning of my contribution to it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's like I feel like you and Chase Atlantic, like you've been able to, maybe not always with them knowing, because they're obviously not always here in person, but you've
Yeah.
been able to kind of feed off of each other's art. So, you're taking their first album and you're saying, okay, like I'm gonna make this piece out of it, and then like Christian or whoever like might see that and say, oh, let's do something more like this style for our next lyric video or whatever it might be. But it's like, what would you say to like younger girls who are fans of artists who get called obsessed or get called like, oh, you're like, why do you love this band so much? Like, why? Like, people who get that, like, what would you say to them, or maybe what would you say to your younger self?
Honestly, I honestly, like, there's, of course, like, the healthy obsess. We can't deny, like,
Yeah,
of course, like, there's always a healthy amount for
love
everything
it.
in life.
Yeah,
But
you gotta. Yeah,
as far as, like, you're dedicated to an artist and people look
yeah,
down on that, um, honestly, screw the people that look
yeah,
down on you for caring about an artist a lot. That's the result of a craft. Like, of course, like, artists, yeah, of course they do it for themselves, but the reaction is what keeps them going, and it's meant for people to resonate with. Otherwise, does art have a point? Like, if you care
mm,
about an artist and people are looking down on you for it, just push them aside, because if you find a sense of belonging and you know and joy from it, and it's harmless, of course that's okay. And I feel like it should be normalized. And I feel like
yeah,
so many people that are even, like, taken seriously in this industry, at some point they must have been obsessed with an artist. Like, and I feel like people,
yeah,
they gain knowledge and perspective of the world through different people, just because, like, they're obsessed with an artist who, in the picture, they may look like the artist is, unattainable or above them in some way, and perhaps they may be, but at the end, it's a human connection.
yeah,
Like Harry Styles, like, someone that I've loved since I was, like,
right,
14. Yeah, he's a celebrity. He's, like, way ahead. But at the very end of the day, like, if you remove his celebrity status, it's a human level of connection. Like, I love what he thinks. I love what he projects into his art. I love what he is open about and what he chooses to preach about. And that is what it is at the end. It's just, of course, people prove it in the form of buying merch and posters. And, that's
yeah,
expression. And the same way guys express their love for sports through jerseys and, going to bars and watching, sports. I don't know. I don't get what they do, but that's
sports, they like sports.
they like sports. That's something that's not, no, that's not me.